Studio 10 financial consultant and advisor Jim Bird is here with Safe Harbor Financial. Jim, good to see you as always.
Good to see you, Joe.
Now, we've talked about a lot of things in the past year, but we're going to take a look at something with a twist today. When you make your financial plans, sometimes things happen. Today, we're going to talk about what happens if you make all that planning and you go through a divorce. So what are some issues with retirement planning in a divorce?
Well, most people, Joe, understand that if you take early distribution of your IRA, you're going to be penalized. The government's going to penalize you tax-wise and penalties. But they don't understand that in a recent court case, there was a judgment where the husband was supposed to give the spouse half its retirement plan, okay, which happens a lot of times in divorces. And so, in fact, the Internal Revenue ruled against him, and the Court of Appeals ruled against him, that he had ended up paying 10% tax penalties and everything else on top of that.
So why do they rule that way?
Well, here's why. Because, Joe, the way he set it up, he was going to give it to his wife, and he doesn't have to pay taxes on it because it comes under what we call a quadro, a Qualified Domestic Relations Order. Okay. And so what happened is, though, instead of doing it that way, his ex-wife didn't want to take the money because it was going to be a taxable event to her. So he just said, okay, I'll go get the money out and I'll give it to you. So he gave it to her, and he failed to mention that on his tax returns. So the Internal Revenue ruled that that was a distribution to him. So just like he had taken it out and spent it.
So obviously something you want to avoid if this situation should ever occur. How can you avoid paying these extra penalties and taxes then?
Well, in this case, he should have done a direct transfer. Just like anybody that's rolling their money from a 401k or 403b, anything like that, you do a transfer, which is a tax-free transfer. But in this case, he thought he was doing that because the court ordered him to do it, but the way he did it was wrong. Okay.
So these are things, if by chance you're going through this situation, that you can help the people through. So we talked about this, the transfer. What are some other problems in retirement planning when it comes to divorce?
Well, I'm going to look at my notes because I'm giving legal advice, and my attorney, Jim Roberts, couldn't be here today. So, one is, if you're required to pay a certain amount to your ex-wife in exchange for equity, say, for instance, in a marital residence, some people who do that, they just pay off. They want the house, and they'll give the cash to their wife. We'll assume, it can be reversed in that. And a court ruled that in a lot of instances it was a taxable distribution. Now, what went wrong, obviously, in that. Well, the quadro was not used properly. Okay, the ex-wife was in a retirement plan, already in a qualified retirement plan, so the money could have rolled into that plan. Instead, they took the money out, and he withdrew it from his qualified plan to pay his ex-wife for the share of the home.
So obviously, as you're hearing this morning, these type of things can get very complicated and convoluted and very difficult to deal with, and going through divorce is difficult enough. So if you want the situation to go much smoother and simpler, you guys can help out. Well,
I also want to say this, Joe. We do more than just product or, our seminars. We talk about various subjects, but we have a legal team. We have Richard Lindsay as our CPA, and Jim Roberts is our attorney. So we look at these kind of issues, and I have these questions come up all the time with that, and I answer them, and it's part of our comprehensive financial planning. So people need to understand that it's more than just product or investments.
Planning for all different types of situation, products for different types of situation. Whatever you need, you can get a great consult from the folks at Safe Harbor Financial and get you back on the right path toward retirement. Jim, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.